Hi everyone, welcome again to the full moon reading. This for the full moon in Capricorn for Thursday, the 24th of June. I feel that this particular moon needs a card all of its own just for the full moon. We all know that full moon is about how everything comes to fruition, that we put our intentions that we put in. But this full moon actually happens to have come hard on the heels of both the lunar and the solar eclipse during the last month, and at the beginning of this week of solstice itself. So a hugely energetic time, and really a time when we need to actually find something that's just going to help us through this particular full moon. It's the last super moon of 2021. It's also an earth sign. Capricorn is an earth sign, so we need to take care here because this is a time where you're going to feel it possibly very strongly in your body. Your physical body relates to the earth sign very much, and you could well be feeling it in terms of how it affects you in health. If you're not feeling so well, you might feel worse. If you have trouble sleeping with the moon, it's always a tough time. Just the moon is playing a very, very strong role in your life at the moment. So you're picking up a card here, and the card I've collected here is number 29. This card is the card of the healer. This says, in many ways, you've chosen a rough incarnation. You've chosen difficulties within your genetic line, things that you're going to work with. But the purpose of them is very much like the pressure of the earth creates the most beautiful sparkling diamond. This pressure that you've put yourself under, that on a soul journey, none of us have done it from a state of awareness, but your subconscious and your soul journey have chosen a particularly difficult time. And we all know that right around the world, everybody's experiencing difficult times at the moment. And the pressure of this, though, is helping us to find that spark that we really are, that who you really are underneath everything, not influenced by anybody else's opinion. Who are you really, and how much are you showing up for that? It speaks of connections with other dimensions. It speaks of connections with other star nations. But you are the grounding force for this. This is where you bring this into your reality, into your being, and into your journey into life. So we need to now be looking at how to make it a little bit easier for yourself, knowing that the hard times have happened, and now that spark, that part of you is now wanting to be coming out. Allow it to shine. It's not going to be the same as everybody else's spark, but really we cannot any longer try and be who we're not. This is seriously the time for stepping ahead into the person that you are. And healing doesn't mean having to have people in and having a massage table. Healing means people come to you because they know that you can listen, that you can hear them, and that you let them speak. It's a very simple thing as well as a very deep thing. So it's each and every one of us is being called to listen and to help at this stage. The full moon is in Capricorn, and Capricorn, as I said, is an earth sign, so you will be feeling it quite strongly this full moon physically. But not only that, the Capricorn aspect of things brings out a strong need in us to be useful to society. So there'll be many projects that might be coming across your mind. Look and see if they feel right. Don't get led astray by having some idealistic version of what might be going. This is a grounded time. Something needs to be able to have strong foundations in which it's to succeed. And this is not a time to be looking for approval from outside. Unfortunately, it's very much a Capricorn thing where we look to others to agree and support us in what we do. This seriously is where you look to yourself and you know whether it feels right with you or not. It's harmful to yourself to look for approval. Rather trust your inner value. You have everything you need to know exactly. You know when things feel correct for you and when things feel right. It's a time to slow down now in the Capricorn energy after the last few months of extremely intense energies. And it's time to work towards a steady and incremental and sustainable progress. This is working hard, building foundations, building back into it. This is not a leap of faith time. This is not a risk time. This is building very strong foundations and stepping into them and working and creating and bringing it forward. Also important, it's very important to be able to step back a bit and acknowledge the very hard work that you've put into this time that has brought you to where you are now. Accept the rewards, acknowledge the rewards. We have a tendency to be on that wheel of having to do better, and we very rarely take the time to step back and look at how much we have achieved and how fantastically we've done in spite of all odds. We're constantly striving for how we need to do better in the future. This is a time to stop, take that breath, and acknowledge how fantastically you've done up to this present moment. Allow time for gratitude. Gratitude is a huge part of enjoying life. And it's also time to step back from the relentless wheel turning of putting work pressure upon yourself. Very important to balance your work and your play at this stage. Your work will be far better for taking a bit of time out to play. So the card that we've picked here is number 10. This being looking at the reflection. There we go. Got it without the reflection. The eagles in this pack always speak of your own divine power. It's not an egotistical power. It's your authentic right as a being of spirit, as a child of great spirit. That is your authentic right. This speaks of new beginnings, new things coming your way, new ways of looking at things. So this Capricorn moon is giving you an opportunity to look at things differently and to acknowledge that you are the one that can move between one dimension and another. You're the one that can extract information from higher dimensions and fly with it. The nudges that you're getting from spirit, they're there to be worked with. The information that you feel you're downloading and you don't quite know what to do with, it's time to ground it on this planet. The more it is grounded, the higher you can fly, and the less restrictions and limitations you will then put on yourself. Because the other side of a Capricorn is we're always very good at self-judgment in the Capricorn side. So this is a time to acknowledge your spiritual being, your inner wisdom, your inner power, and your divine right. So a very, very important time. It's a new beginning. It's a new way of seeing yourself and flying with who you are. The other very important thing that has happened this week is, of course, solstice, which happens to be today as I'm speaking to you. It is that here in the southern hemisphere where I live in South Africa at 5:30 this morning, we stepped into the solstice. And that brings very big energy. It's a huge time, and we've been talking now of the moon energies when I'm doing the reading, but the solstice is a very strong time. So we need to pull up a card that speaks of the energies of the sun now. And then, of course, obviously in the northern hemisphere, it's a time for sitting back, enjoying the harvest, enjoying everything you've done, and now taking maybe a summer break, taking a holiday, taking a gap, being expansive, being out there, being in the sun, enjoying the glory of the fullness of things. For those of us in the southern hemisphere, it's a time for planting the seeds. It's a time for introspection. It's a time where we light the first fire of summer that is now on its way, and we start to think, throw a little bit of light on what it is we want to be doing for the next year. What seeds do we want to be sprouting by spring? What seeds that we planted last year really did not bear very good fruit, and we really need to leave alone? How do we move on from that? So it's very much a time, instead of the expansive northern hemisphere experience of the summer solstice, we are very much sowing that new seed that spring can bring to life. Very introspective, very looking at what has worked in the past. The card for this is number 18. Okay, take my finger off the number. 18 being a 9, it comes to the end of a cycle, showing us that once more, not only have we had new beginnings with the Capricorn full moon, but the solstice has brought an end of a cycle. Well, we know it brought the end of summer for the southern hemisphere, for the northern hemisphere, the end of winter or midwinter for the southern hemisphere. And this is now where we need to look at the sun's energies. You know, that's the life-giving, the sun being the life-giving energies. This card speaks very much on memories. What memories are holding you back? What memories from your childhood, from your early lives, are preventing you from being who you really are? What are you allowing? I mean, I very date myself when I say the tape recorders, but basically, what are those words going round and round in your head that are self-limiting, that you have picked up not through your own experience of who you are, but are very much gathering in other people's opinions on things? How much of what you believe in is what you believe in? How much of what you believe in is because you have absorbed the ideas of those around you, especially in your early years? So how prepared are you to be able to stand to the front and shine your light, which will shine differently? How prepared are you to step out of the crowd and really follow your dream? Really follow who you know you are inside. It's so much a time for understanding there is no separation. You are not separate from Mother Earth. You are not separate from God. We are not separate from one another. There's nothing. Every thought, action, and word that any of us do affects the entire web of life. Nothing does not have a reaction. We need to be responsible. We need to be full of integrity. We need to take responsibility for that we put out into this world. So a lovely thing, because this now is for the full year, the solstice, we're looking at least until Christmas time, when we look at the next swap of the solstices. But this is putting into effect a very big shift that we need to be aware of in the months to come, not just for ourselves now. Okay. The last quarter of the moon, which is, we always know we need to bring ourselves back into some balance, because we need to have brought everything to fruition in the full moon, need to bring it back, make sure we're in balance by the last quarter, with our divine masculine, divine feminine in perfect balance within us, holding our center, so that when we come to make a new intention for the new moon, then we are ready and clear to do it. The card that I've picked here today is number 22. It's another one which says, now 20, this is called magenta, and this is the colors of magenta as well. And the energy of the color of magenta is the same as the color of copper. It brings heaven to earth. So we're speaking again, by being who you really are, stepping into that role. And again, it brings up the healer aspect of yourself. And again, it doesn't have to be anything major. It's just how you are, how open you are to being of assistance to those in need, not doing it for them, but basically hearing them. Everybody needs to be heard. How ready are you to hear, and how ready are you to shine your own light? 22 is also a master number. It's the master architect. Whatever you bring in from the star nations, other dimensions, needs to be brought into this earth, worked on, used as foundations. This is where you build up and grow. And this is also very much a Capricorn thing. You create your foundations, and you keep putting into your foundations. You keep adding, you keep getting yourself there. So a very important time. Also important time to be able to, if you feel differently to others, it's okay. You do not have to be part of the crowd. Far better for yourself. Not one of us is actually really part of a crowd. We are all individuals within ourselves. And as long as you are ready to embrace that side of yourself, it will all work out really well for you. And it's a very important, there's softness and a gentleness. Time again, we speak again, to step away from self-judgment and judgment of others. Only you know what is going to work for you. And the last card that I always love to pick is the day. The day of the full moon is the 24th. And funnily enough, in July, it'll be the same day. It'll also be the 24th as the full moon. And 24 is the day. The challenge of this card is celebrate. Celebrate everything in your life that's brought you to this point. Celebrate every experience you've ever had. Celebrate the perfection of the imperfection of your life. Celebrate the perfection of the imperfection of who you are, exactly as you are, as a child of Great Spirit. That is absolutely something to celebrate and love. Celebrate everything around you as you look out the window. Celebrate what you see. Celebrate what you hear. Celebrate what you feel, what you touch, what you taste, the food that comes onto your table. It's a time to celebrate. Again, we come back to a theme that was coming up all the way through the reading, is that of gratitude. So grateful. Dance. Be joyful. Celebrate. Everything is beautiful. I thank you all. It's been wonderful having you here. Thank you for being with me, and thank you for listening to this, and we will speak